Hey, it's Joe here at Red's Fly Shop. I snuck out of the shop for an hour, hour and a half or so. I'm gonna do some fishing and share this adventure with you. All right, so I pulled into this first spot just right across from Red's here. And first thing I do is, generally, I know this to be a good spot. I've got a riffle up there. I've got flat water kind of right in front of me here. And I'm just gonna watch the spot. I've already been watching for a couple minutes. And I haven't seen anything rise yet, but generally I'll give it a couple minutes, especially in that shadow that's right there under the tree. That's a very likely spot for a fish to be sitting suspended and occasionally rising. So give it 5, sometimes even 10 minutes if you're really dedicated to getting them on a dry fly. But I've been watching this, and I was watching it from the other side too, but survey your surroundings before you just go bombarding in there throwing nymphs, because sometimes those fish will be sitting in the shadow and hard to see from a distance. All right, so it took about 6 casts to hook this little guy up, and I'm certain that it's on that partridge soft tackle, but let's see. No, it's on the Baby's Got Bead. He was down there right on the bottom. And I'm fishing that olive and gold one, so I suppose it could certainly look like, you know, big caddis pupa. So anyway, it took me just a couple minutes. Nothing was eating dry flies in here. But yeah, a nice little trout. I'll take that kind of trout all day long. And let him swim. So there's that color right there. And yeah, click the link in the video description to see all the different color options. Oh, there was a bite right there. I'll just go ahead and film live here so you can see what it's like, whether I get fish or not. Oh, there was one I just missed. Okay, sink, 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 sink. That wind's making it a little tricky. There was a little light take right there. And then the nice thing about having that soft hackle on there, a hackle on your bottom fly, is you can let that thing swing at the end. I just like to say, let it end. You know, let it end the presentation with some dignity. Don't just yank it out of there. So it looks like these fish are still kind of tucked right down in this heavy water in these riffles for the moment, just eating a lot of subsurface offerings. There's a lot of caddis pupa going by them under there. They don't really have to come to the surface right now. There's one right there. Nice little trout. We'll take it. So that's 2 out of there in just a few minutes. So there's a lot of fish sitting right at the base of this riffle right here, but just not on dries. Again, you know, that's an indication of where the fish are holding in the water column, because it took that anchor fly again, which I'm actually quite surprised about. That's meaning they're just, when I say I'm surprised, it just means these trout are just sitting deeper than I thought they would be. Get him unhooked and away. So typically what happens is during a hatch, I'm a little bit tangled up there, but I've got my really heavy fly on the bottom here, and I've got that unweighted fly up. And typically what happens is, while there's a hatch, that unweighted fly up top typically gets most of the action. I mean, the thing even looks like one of these caddis, but the fish are probably just sitting real tight to the bottom because of this bright sun. So that could all change when I go around the corner and maybe get in the shadows. All right, so here's another nice one. Yeah, that's a little better fish there. That is really, really, really fun. We'll see what fly he's on. I hope he's on that Baby's Got Bead, because that one's on heavier line. These fish, just this current is so swift right in here, man. These things, dude, they just fight. They just fight so hard. I always try to land them as quick as I can here. That's just fine. That was a nice fish, but I think he, yeah, I believe he was on that soft tackle that time, by the looks of things. Okay, so I'm gonna talk you through my drift here. I'm trying really hard to just barely be on the bottom. I want that sight. There's a fish right there. He did not even let it get all the way to the bottom. Nice. So that's part of the reason, like line control is really good, really important, because you just want that thing to just flutter down real gently. You don't want it sinking like a rock. But just as I was lowering that one into position, he picked that thing up. So anyway, the nymphing is absolutely on fire at the moment. I mean, look at all these caddis right here. Nice fish. No wonder that fish are just gorging themselves. They're sitting in this real swift water right now. But, you know, as the light comes down and we start to get more of these shadows, they're going to want to get in these softer seams. Getting in there and eating the emergers and the dries is going to be less work for them. But it's really important, in my opinion, to have the ability to switch between nymphs and dries, you know, very quickly. So the 2-rod setup, in my opinion, is really critical. This fish won't look nearly as big on GoPro as it is in real life, but that is a slabby trout. Good fighter. He ate that baby. He's got bead flag in. That thing is on fire. Oh my gosh. Those nice ones, I like to let them go as quick as I can get them in. So, all right, pretty good bite. All right, that first spot was on fire. A couple of things just summarize while I'm floating down to my next spot. One, when you pull into a spot or you see a spot you like, and this could be hiking, it could be driving, it could be floating, watch that spot for a few minutes just to see if anybody pokes their heads up and is on a dry fly. That's first, okay? Second is, those fish, it was very apparent to me that they were buried in that real big, heavy, swift water right off the bat. So as I read water again, if I were to do some more nymphing, I would really want to be looking for that same type of water. 3 to 4 feet deep, really swift and pushing. These fish are really on the eat right now, so they want to get themselves in the best possible spots for that. Now, what I'm doing next is I really want to catch one on a dry. I've got about another 30 to 45 minutes that I kind of slated to get out here and get this done. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to free drift, and I'm in my Watermaster here, and I'm just watching all those shady spots. I'm gonna stick to the right half of the river as far as where I'm really focusing my attention. And it's funny how this works. Sometimes you will float a mile or 2 miles. I'm gonna try to float a little closer to that side while filming, just to take a look. But you'll just float down a corner, you know, mile and nothing, and then you'll have, you know, 6 or 7 fish just gobbling caddis on these weak corners or behind a brush or in a little shadow there. So you really got to cover some ground sometimes, and you'll find a group of fish that's up confidently eating dries in a safe, shady spot. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm just head hunting for rising fish, and when I find them, I'll pull the boat over downstream from them and go back and stalk them on foot. Okay, so I finally found a really nice fish here. Okay, so I was prowling the shadows just looking, and he's about 15 feet downstream of those dead sticks. I'm gonna take my boat way around him. He's right there beside us. And I'm gonna tuck in right down here. Okay, so I'm gonna tuck in and secure my boat right up here in these shallows. Nice thing about these Watermasters is I don't have to anchor or anything like that. I just put my feet down right here, and I'll spin around like this. Okay, so I'm gonna get my dry fly rod out and go for him. He's right up there. There he is, got him. Nice, beautiful. Oh, he got me around a rock. Dang it. Get off there. Get off there. I could tell when he jumped. Oh, I think he's gone. Dang it. Get off there, get off there. Oh, I could tell when he jumped. It wasn't where he was supposed to be jumping. Oh, that was pretty cool. So let me summarize kind of what happened here. So I was floating down and I was having trouble finding fish feeding on dry. So I pulled the boat over up there well above this little log pile here, and was just watching kind of this whole shady area, and it took about a minute or two, and I saw one nice one feeding in this little bubble line right in here, and it's all a little tighter than it looks. It's kind of a wide angle lens. So anyway, I pulled the boat over right down there, stocked back up, and it took about 3 or 4 drifts right near him. Even if the fish stops rising, you always have to believe it's still there and not spooked. Just very delicate, like, don't just go again and again and again and again. It's okay to like run a drift through, take a deep breath, watch for the fish to feed again, because you get one chance at them. If you line them real aggressively or you just start making these hurried casts, you're probably gonna fail. So I threw about 3 or 4, and I was wondering, I'm like, man, did I get too close? Did I talk too much? And then sure enough, he just came up and fed really well. And then there's a big stick down in there, and he just got my line right around the stick, and he came off, and then the tension back just hooked me right into the stick. So I had to go unhook it. But I'm gonna keep cruising down. I'm not gonna nymph anymore. I'm just gonna keep looking for these fish in the shade. It's a good challenge. I just call it head hunting, where I'm just cruising along, looking for a head up on the surface. And sometimes I don't catch very many doing this, but it's spot and stock hunting for rainbow trout, man. I absolutely dig it. Okay, I got one spotted and it's in the sunlight right where I'm looking right there, but it's eating under the surface. I just saw a very, very subtle boil. I'm gonna be very careful not to spook this fish. And I think it's probably, there's a few different insects out right now. There's caddis and there's pale morning duns. And just based on how gentle that rise was, I think it's probably eating a pale morning dun. I'm gonna pull the boat in here and throw a cast back up over him. GoPro, stop recording. So I'm positioned down below the fish, and I'm gonna have to throw pretty much straight back up over him. So I've got a 9-foot 5X leader on, and what I've got on the back is I've got a hare's ear soft tackle with a partridge hackle. It's a partridge soft tackle, hare's ear color. So that makes a good caddis and pale morning dun emerger. It's not a very big fish, but I don't care, it's on a dry fly. So we're gonna try to get it right here in just a moment. So I'm gonna watch him feed a couple times, figure out exactly where he's at, put my crosshairs on him and try to get him in one cast. A little break in the wind. There we go, that's right on him. There he is, nice fish. He ate the adult. Oh, dang it. Lost another one. Whew, that was a much nicer fish than I thought it was. Really tough little spot. There he is. Oh, he ate the emerger. He ate the emerger. Very aggressive take on that emerger too. He hammered that. All right, so I didn't see a fish in this spot right here, but this spot just has all the makings of a perfect spot for fish to be eating dries right up there. I've got swift water out here, a great hole right here that I can see lots of depth, and I've got mixed shade right below the riffle in the trees right here. So I'm just gonna give this a couple minutes. I'm gonna watch it. And said I wasn't gonna do it, but I might throw a couple of drifts with my presentations with my nymphs right out here while I wait for a fish to pop up on a dry right there. There's a nice fish. First cast. First cast in there. Oh, don't forget to watch for fish on dry flies. Don't want to forget about those. Yeah, that's a solid trout. We'll take it. Right down there in that heavy water. I'm telling you, oh, nice fish. A little bigger than I thought. These fish are out here in this swift water, but I'm telling you, as the afternoon wears on, they're gonna want to get up in the softer currents and just gorge on those emergers and adults in there. There he goes again. Holy moly. I think I'm wrapping her up. I'm gonna look. I got one more little strip before I drag my boat back out to the highway here. So right now it is just shy of 2 o'clock. It's about to turn 2 o'clock. And yesterday the bite really started at about 4 on dry flies. So got out here, not quite a prime time yet. Although I I did hook 3. One of them I kind of missed, but I hooked 2 really nice fish, both in the shade. So there's potential there, but that's just a little sample of this hatch. I'm floating the bank here, just kind of looking for risers, and you can see how many bugs are here. It's really quite incredible. Watch this. Look at that. They're just ones I just kicked loose right here. Unbelievable. So yeah, these fish they're gonna start feeding on dries. Just as these shadows get a little bit longer, they're gonna feel more safe and secure in the shallows up there, where it's a little easier living.